Good evening, folks. My name is Harry James Taylor, and this is the breakdown of the Oklahoma Sooners and the Kansas State Wildcats. As the teacher runs past his student to get the teacher only his second win over Bob Stoops, the student, and Kansas State's first win in Norman since 1997. I'll tell you how it happened and all that much more coming up next on the Oklahoma postgame report. So as I said last night, the teacher ran past his pupil with a final score in Norman, 24-19, Kansas in favor of K-State. This was a game where you had 3 turnovers. It was bad. It was bad. You had 3 turnovers. You did not do what I thought you had to do, which was yourself create turnovers, which you didn't do, and win each quarter, which you didn't do. It hurts, but this is how it went down in the first quarter. Now, first quarter, you did exactly what I said. Won the quarter. There was just one score with 6:16 left in the quarter. Michael Honeycutt, the kicker for the Oklahoma Sooners, tapped through a 28-yard field goal through the uprights to make it 3-0 Oklahoma. Second quarter is when this thing just got completely out of hand. There was a blitz called, and the blitz got right onto Landry Jones. Fumbles the football in the end zone. Jarrell Childs picks it up for a 1-yard touchdown recovery. 3-7 Kansas State. This happened with 12:20 left in the second quarter. Also in the second quarter, Anthony Cantelli, the kicker for Kansas State, found a 23-yard field goal, good through the uprights, to make it 3-10 Kansas State with 2:28 left. Michael Honeycutt, though, was not finished. Honeycutt, the kicker for the Oklahoma Sooners, swept through a 34-yard field goal to make it 6-10 Kansas State with 35 seconds left. So within as poorly as you played in the first half, with 2 turnovers, you're still within 4 points. Third quarter, you did exactly what I thought you had to do again. You won the quarter. It was a Blake Bell 3-yard touchdown. And, by the way, it gave you the lead back. With 5 minutes left, it's 13-10 Oklahoma. But the fourth quarter, once again, you didn't do what I thought you had to do, winning the quarter. They let Colin Klein, the quarterback for Kansas State, get a 5-yard touchdown run to give the lead back to Kansas State, 13-17, with 13:16 left in the fourth quarter. Followed by that, it got worse than that, because then Jonathan Hubert, the running back for Kansas State, had a 9-yard touchdown run himself, making it 13-24 Kansas State with 7:27 left. But the bright side, you didn't see this team sit down. You didn't see this team give up. And Landry Jones did throw a touchdown pass. Threw it to Sterling Shepard, 10 yards out for a touchdown. The 2-point conversion was no good. to make it 19-24 Kansas State with 4:09 left, which, as you know, was your final score. You don't want moral victories. You don't want to make yourself feel good after a game like this. But if you have to, Sterling Shepard, 10-yard touchdown pass. You know, he's out of Oklahoma City. He's a good player. He went to high school here in Oklahoma. His dad played here. Derek Shepard was a great punt kick returner and wide receiver in his own right. The son gets in the end zone today as a true freshman when he had to get there. If he doesn't get there, it's worse than that, and it's 13-24 at the end of the game. But like I said, it's one of one. It's not going to do you any good to think of it like that, but you know that's how you could think of it. Stats was just Landry. He threw for 300 yards, 298 to be exact yards, a touchdown, and the interception. The interception was horrible too because the interception happened at about midfield as Kenny Stills was going through his route, and you let Kenny come back to that ball. You throw a better ball, you throw it away. Who knows what happens on that drive? You go down there and score. Who knows? Colin Clyde had a $149 passing, but he didn't throw a touchdown or an interception. Rushing wise, Dominique Whaley was back on track this week. 9 carries, 51 yards, no touchdowns, but however he did not fumble, which was good to see. Keep that up, Dom. Jonathan Hubert, 23 carries, a $130, and the late touchdown. Receiving wise, the aforementioned Oklahoma City's own Sterling Shepard out of Heritage Hall Academy. 7 catches, 108 yards, and that touchdown. The lone touchdown of this game, by the way, offensively. Tyler Lockett, the kid out of Tulsa, had 3 catches, 37 yards, no touchdowns. Defensively, the defensive stat of the game, I think that has to go to Tony Jefferson. 14 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. He laid it all on the line tonight, and he was injured. So he's injured, and he still comes up with 14 tackles and a tackle for a loss. And he had to leave this game too. Mad props up to you, Tony. I love you, and we're going to miss you in a couple of years once you leave, but you're not done yet. So our best player gets the stat hat of the night. The stat hat of the night defensively for Kansas State goes to their best defensive player. Arthur Brown, 8 total tackles tonight as a member of the Kansas State defense. Field goals, Michael Honeycutt hit 2 field goals. Long of 34 and is short of 28. Anthony Cantelli hit 1, long from 23 yards away. Punters, Tress Way had 3 attempts, 37.7 in average, 44 was his long. This was a killer too. You had the punt, you had the turnovers. You didn't create any turnovers, and then you let Ryan Dorr get 5 punts, average of 37 yards a punt, long of 49. Here you go. All 5 punts were within the 20-yard line. You did not let Justin Brown get a kick return and all that good stuff. Why? Because they kept on nailing it inside the 20-yard line. But it showed the consistency that you had because you still had a couple of good scoring drives. Even though they kept you intact. Hype of the night, there weren't a lot of these. There were not a lot of these. But I'm going to take it to the one there in the fourth quarter that got Oklahoma basically back in the game. Landry Jones to Sterling Shepard, 10 yards out with 4:09 left in the fourth quarter. Stoopsy's stop of the night came in the second quarter, 2:31 left. Just before that Cantelli field goal, Colin Klein found Tyler Lockett, the kid out of Tulsa, incomplete pass, great coverage by Aaron Colbert on this play, forced them to make it a field goal instead of a touchdown, which gave you a chance in the ball game, because that would have been 17-3. That would have been 14-3, and you wouldn't have been down 4. You would have been down more than that. I don't want anybody to get disappointed in this team. I understand that you're disappointed. I'm disappointed. But you can't get down on them. They just went up against a better team. They went up against a good defense that was prepared for what they had to do. And basically, you have, except for Kenny Stills, you have 3 more receivers. McGuire, Shepard, and Brown that do not know this offense, that went up there against a pretty darn good defense in Kansas State. Now, their pass defense, not all that great, but it's still a pretty good defense. And you still passed for 298 yards on them, by the way. But you can't expect these guys, Shepard, Brown, and these guys, to come right in and learn the offense. And I understand that. But one thing that Landry has to understand, too, you cannot just keep on going to Kenny Stills on every play. His one pick, when he went to Kenny Stills on that play, that was... If you go to anybody else on that, he had McGuire wide open. If he would have looked for him, I think. I think it was McGuire. He just needs to calm down, and he better be ready to go, because now you're going up against a team that you have not beaten on the road since 2003. Now, I realize this is a new staff in Texas Tech. It's a new coach in Texas Tech. But this is a new coach at Texas Tech that did go into Norman, scored 41 points on your ballyhooed OU defense when you were the number 1 team in the country. So they can do it. They have 2 weeks to prepare now. They had 2 weeks to prepare for this offense. Now they're going to have 2 more weeks to prepare for basically a pass-heavy spread offense. And then you don't get another break. It's OU after OU after OU after that. And you better be ready to rock, because after that you'll play Texas. And you still have Notre Dame. And you still have Kansas. You'll still have these teams. This is not over. This season's not over. Obviously, I know that you guys are disappointed. Most OU fans would be. But Bill Snyder's a good coach. And he got him again. The only game now that hasn't really been... There's been a couple of games that haven't been that close. Basically, there were those 2 games that really get in the back of my mind that weren't close. And the reason why I don't contest with the final game that final game that he had was because he basically lost the quarterback already, and he was basically waiting on a new quarterback to come in. And if you're waiting on a new quarterback, unless you're at Oklahoma, you just better be prepared to wait. And so I'm basically going to scratch that from his list. So just about every time we played him now, it's been a close game. And it was again the other night. The sad thing for Oklahoma is even with those 3 turnovers, you still had a chance in the bowl game, which is baffling to me, how you can still have a chance after you turn the ball over 3 times in the bowl game. For a final time, the final score in this one, Kansas State, once again, for the first time since 1997, get the Sooners in Norman. Landry becomes the first quarterback in the Stoops era to lose 2 home games. He'll have a chance to tie the Oklahoma wins record in 2 weeks on the road at Tech, where you haven't won since 03. Until then, I'm Harry James Taylor. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Boomer Sooner 1982. Everyone have a good day.